Hey everyone, Lou Lombardi here, aka Loudini from the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, to tell you about our brand new sponsor, McNeely Beer, 6-packs and more, located at 441 McNeely Road in the South Hills.
Lou. Hey Lou, what's up?
Hey, Pittsburgh Kevin, what's going on, man?
Hey, McNeely Beer, 6-pack and more is right down the street from where I grew up. I go there all the time.
Oh, cool.
Now listen to this, man. McNeely Beer carries about 700 beer varieties in singles, 6-packs, or 12-packs. They offer imports, crafts, domestics, even drafts. You can grab a gourmet hot dog, catch a game on the TV, create your own mix and match 6-pack, or just grab what you need and go.
You know, I hear that mix and match 6-pack is really cool because you get 20% off when you do that, and it's a great way to try something new without investing in an entire case. Correct. You know what I mean? So, and the knowledgeable staff will actually help you pick out your selections. McNeely is open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to midnight, Fridays and Saturdays until 2 a.m. And even with this crazy snow we just had, spring beers are already arriving, so you want to be sure to get your seasonal selections before they're gone.
Definitely.
That's McNeely Beer, 6-packs and more, located at 441 McNeely Road in the South Hills, and you can check them out online at mcneelybeer.com.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Mark Sarro from Lost Souls on Broadway, and you're listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
Hey everyone, welcome back once again to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, where we bring you a great independent rock and roll that you're not going to hear pretty much anywhere else, and great interviews as well. And today we have with us Mark Sarro from the band Lost Souls on Broadway. And really excited to talk to Mark. They've got a great record out, and Mark has a very cool history in the music business. He's done some cool stuff, so it's going to be fun to talk to him. First, I'd like to thank our sponsors, our longtime sponsor, Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine. That's pplmag.com, Pittsburgh's first internet radio, TV network, online community magazine, and business directory. And I'd like to thank our brand new sponsor, McNeely Beer. You can find the McNeely Beer at mcneelybeer.com. That's McNeilly. McNeely Beer is Pittsburgh's new home for the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beer. 6-pack bottle shop located in the heart of the South Hills. Pride themselves on personal, knowledgeable customer service, fantastic selection, and hard-to-beat prices. And once again, you can find them at mcneelybeer.com. And like I said, guys, we've got this very cool band that we're working with here at the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus for over 2 decades. Lost Souls on Broadway's visionary Mark Sarro has valiantly persevered as a professional in this finicky business we call the music industry through intrepid artistic exploration and reinvention. Now, he announces the culmination of his journey with the album Anthems For The Fallen with his new band, The Lost Souls on Broadway. Joining him in the studio were none other than producer, gold record recording artist Dean Davidson, and studio legend Phil Nicolo. So we've got Mark Sarro on the phone right now. Mark, welcome to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
Thanks for having me, Lou.
Hey, thank you. So how did you tell us a little bit about we'll go back and talk about your history a little bit in the music business, but tell me a little bit about the band and how you put this band together and what it's all about.
Great. All right. Yeah. Well, Lost Souls on Broadway. It's almost right about our 2-year anniversary coming up in the next couple of weeks. From when I started the actual project. It started actually with my brother, who was the original drummer on the project, where we kind of got together and started to kind of play together again. Him and I have been playing off again, probably for over 20 years as well.
Wow.
And we kind of have a love-hate relationship. we'll get along. Right? We'll get along really well for a little while, and then we won't talk to each other for a couple of years, and then we'll get along together for a while. I think he's the only drummer I've had to fire or to dismiss from a band like 3 or 4 times. You think I would have learned my lessons, 10 years ago, but it's just one of those things. But anyway, so we had started the project, and he had connected to Dean Davidson through social media, And I had known Dean and worked with Dean since probably mid-late 90s on some other projects. And Dean just, he was looking for some acts to produce. We started kind of talking to him and started some demos his way. And then he got, started getting behind it. And then we spent the next, really, we spent almost 10 months in my studio doing just demos and writing and arranging. And we must have probably recorded each of the songs for the album 3 or 4 times over, just trying to work out parts, arrangements, and then kind of Dean he took the songs, kind of put his thoughts together, and then we went into Phil's studio up in Conshohocken, PA, Studio 4, and that's where we pretty much recorded the album, mixed, mastered it, and that took us. We started that in October of 2014, and we finished the mastering and everything was done in August of this year. So that took us, almost 10 months in the studio to get the album done, and I'm excited. It's one of my, I've been making music since I was 17, semi-pro professionally, and this is definitely one of my proudest achievements as far as just, I think, the overall production value and just everything that's gone into it from top to bottom, the people behind it, what I'm trying to do with it now, and just, it's exciting. It's never thought I'd be at this point again, but here I am, and I'm excited to do it, So.
How did you come? Tell us a little bit about Phil Nicolo and how you came to work with him.
Well, Phil and Dean go back probably 20 years as well.
Mm-hmm.
Phil, Dean was the lead frontman for Britney Fox, and when he left Britney Fox, he fronted Blackeyed Susan, and that which was like in the 90s, and Phil recorded them, and that's how they met. That's how they started working together. So Phil and Dean kind of had built a really good, close working professional relationship over the years, and Phil's been like Dean's go-to guy when it comes to the studio and space. There's people to work with. I mean, Phil's an amazing guy. His studio is an amazing place. I mean, some of the gear and stuff that he's got there is just you really can't get access to too often, and recording on these mixing consoles are the size of a car, just these kind of things are just we've gotten so far away from with the digital age that you go and see an all analog board with tubes and all that, and you're like, wow, okay, it's good to know that this stuff's still around and still working, and so that's how I got to work with Phil, was through Dean, and it was a great relationship. It was a great time. I mean, I got to say, the first day walking into the studio, the first day of the sessions, I was intimidated because, I'm walking into this giant performance space with, the hardwood floors and high ceilings and all this equipment, and then I go in the control room and there's platinum album for this and gold album for this, and it's like Aerosmith and Sting and, Lauryn Hill and all this stuff, and it's like, whoa, okay, these guys, he's done it, he's been doing it, and here I'm, like, what am I doing here?
Right.
You go self-deprecating. Like, okay, I believe in my songs. I think I'm pretty decent, but really, what am I doing here? So it was one of those kind of shock moments. But right away, Phil kind of put me at ease, and then we just got to work, and we worked really hard. I mean, we spent, like I said, it took us start to finish 10 months in the studio from day one recording to the final master. So it was a lot of work. But,
now, other than working with your brother, who else who played on the record with you?
Well, Matt Harrigan, who's the bassist. He is one of the other really kind of full-time founding member of the band. So he's on the album, and Dean Davidson actually is playing all the drums, and he did some backing vocals, and he did the piano part, and he even did like a little guitar part on one of the songs too. Okay. And then I did all the guitars and lead guitars, rhythm guitars, and vocals.
What's the significance of the? Because at the end there's a little like idea, like a theme behind the album title, "Anthem for the Fallen." You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, "Anthems For The Fallen." It's I kind of look at like it's the body of work of the album. Those songs are very real for me. I mean, every one of those songs is based off of real events, real people that either I've been directly involved with or part of my life, or in some form or fashion. And so they're ups and downs. I mean, there's heartbreak, there's sorrow, there's hope, and it's the idea that you think of rock anthem in the traditional sense. You're thinking like arena rock, a Gary Glitter song. But I'm thinking, Anthems for the Fallen, in the sense that here's a body of work that hopefully people can relate to and realize that they can kind of pick themselves up and keep moving forward even when they hit those hard times or those dark times. Because for me, music is what has kept me alive so long. It's one of those things that without music, I don't think I'd be where I am today. So.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of where you are today and how far you've come, what made you realize that you wanted to pursue a career in music?
Well, I think I got the bug early. I started playing an instrument, 10 years old. First instrument was the violin and piano and all that. And as soon as I became a teenager, the violin kind of flew out the window and picked up the electric guitar, and it was all from there. I started playing in bands as early as age 14, and I graduated high school at 17 and left home right away, hit the road, went and worked with a producer up in Connecticut with my brother and another guy in the band. And just from there, it just kind of caught me. I just spent, and I played probably in just about every type of genre you can think of. It's kind of a cult underground death metal band in the 90s based out of Philly, and I've done psychedelic punk, and I've done even some jazz and blues, and, it just a little of everything, just kind of over the years, and different roles, and the singer-songwriting bug kind of really got me, and that's kind of how the shape and sound of what is today with Lost Souls, it's kind of become. So,
so who are some of your influences then? You've done so much different kind of music over the years. Who kind of rings your bell and makes you really excited about writing and singing and playing guitar?
Sure. Well, that's tough because there's so many obviously great music genres, and so many. I could probably give you 10 examples from each genre that I would say has been an influence from, and the
right.
jazz, obviously spiritually, guys like John Coltrane and Miles Davis and Thelonious Monk and those types of guys, just because of the spirituality aspects of the music. But then on the singer-songwriter front, guys like Elliott Smith, Beck, obviously the Beatles. And then some of the more modern bands like right now, like Mute Math, and obviously Muse, and just there's so much good music that I just kind of I try to absorb as much of it as I can and just kind of put my own spin on it, So.
Now you mentioned that you did a whole lot of different projects over the years. You've been in very different types of bands. Tell me, we got some highlights. You got some interesting stories, maybe. Something, some crazy stuff. You had to have some crazy stuff go down in all those years.
Oh, absolutely. So I could. So back in my death metal days, when I was a lead guitar player in a band called Godbox, we were a 5-piece death metal band. We had a lead singer who was probably the craziest of all of us, and we had a kind of a stage show that was almost bordered on gore.
Okay.
We had the televisions, and we had these crosses that bled, and all this kind of stuff. People either thought we were, either the most satanic band, which we weren't, or just a very, very stage show. Well, so we had a big show. We were playing at the Trocadero in Philly, which is a legendary club in Philly, and I had a monster rig. It was an old PV Stage Master 200-watt all tube. I mean, the head alone was 80 pounds. Just a monster guitar rig, and it blew up on stage. And of course, I'm so involved in the music that I don't even realize that my amp is actually on fire.
Oh, literally on fire. Literally.
It blew up, and it was actually on fire. And
oh, goodness.
People. I finally opened my eyes. So I'm in the little box, thinking, it's kind of quiet. And I look out, people are looking at me wide-eyed, pointing behind me. I'm like, well, what's going on? I turn around, and there's my amp on fire. And put the amp out, and then, of course, 30 seconds later, I kind of casually walk up to my does anybody have an amplifier I could borrow? Kind of at that point, what are you going to do? And then, so another quick story, in that same band, being in that, in that scene, you're playing with all kinds of bands, and oftentimes we played bills with, obviously, other metal bands. Sometimes we play with, hardcore punk and, just some interesting bands. So there was a club that used to be called the Cell Block up in Northeast Philly. It was an all-ages venue, and we were on one of these bills. There was 8 bands, and we were the last band of the night. And there was some trouble with one of the other bands. I think they were skinheads or something. So basically a riot broke out, while we were on stage, and I'm looking out and across the audience, and I see people like fighting. And I see my friend get his nose broken, and like all this stuff going on. And it was just kind of like very surreal. And then we finish the show, and we get off stage, we float out, and it's chaos and done. But we're kind of wrapping up in the parking lot. Well, little did we know that within minutes of us leaving, somebody came by and firebombed the club.
Oh my goodness!
And actually, the club actually burnt to the ground that same night. We were the last band to play there, and then
oh my God.
2 weeks later, the police start come looking for us because by association they just think obviously we had something to do with it, or at least we know something about it. But back then, honestly, we were a bunch of 19, 20-year-old stoners that probably didn't really realize that we had no clue. I mean, that was the whole point. Like, well, that club burnt down. I mean, like, why would anyone burn the club down? So it's one of those kind of, like the follies of youth. Just looking back, like, man, that was interesting times, you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in this business long enough, you start to accumulate those stories pretty quick.
Yeah.
Traveling forward in time here. With your latest project, the Lost Souls on Broadway. Now, this is pretty much you and your vision and the type of music that you really love to play. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess it's also the type of music that seems to be the most natural for me. Like when it comes to songwriting and sitting down and putting together songs and arrangements, it feels right. It's a good blend of that. Again, it's got the album has a very acoustic vibe to it, but it's so very kind of singer-songwriter oriented, but I'm also a big guitar guy, so it's got the solos, it's got the rhythms, it's got the so it's stylistically it's right where I'm at right now. It just seems to speak, and some of these songs, honestly, I originally wrote almost 15 years ago, and they kind of got shelved. I demoed them, put them aside, and never really felt like I got a chance to really kind of do anything with them. And in going through the demo and rearranging, so I rearranged them, maybe changing keys, just did little things, and just and Dean started to get to hear them and kind of give me some feedback. It's like, wow, okay, these songs really have a chance. And then half the album is all new material that was written during the actual demoing and writing process. So it's a mixture of new and old as far as songwriting, and but it all kind of comes together, as far as the style and the sound.
Now, does Lost Souls on Broadway? Do you guys play out? Are you live act as well?
We will be. We've been primarily just a studio act for the last 2 years, so we have not done any live performances. I'm having a private release party for the album next month, where we're actually going to play live with our friends, and I've invited a bunch of my musician friends, and we're going to kind of do like a Lost Souls and Broadways and Friends kind of gig where we're going to have other musicians come up and play some of the songs with us. And, so that's going to be our first time where we're actually going to probably be playing in front of other people. But the plan is once the album hopefully gets some legs under it and we start getting some interest going, we'll start getting out there and getting in front of some live audiences. Because, I do love playing. There's nothing like playing in front of a house of people that are really into what you're doing, and, that energy and just kind of that, having that moment on stage. And so we'll definitely get that's on the horizon. It's just we're kind of taking our time with it,
But the core of the band is the three-piece guitar with you on vocals and bass and drums. Is that pretty much the sort of lineup then?
Yeah, pretty much. That will be our live lineup is guitar, bass, drums, kind of like a power trio. I also use a guitar synth as part of my sound, so often I'll be having synths and organs and pianos kind of coming out as part of my sound underneath the guitar. So we kind of fill up a nice layer for just being the three of us.
So over the next year, so you guys have plans to maybe to maybe do some touring, or are you going to stick locally around your area until you do the next record, or what does it look like for the next maybe 6-12 months?
Well, I'm definitely open to touring again, as long as we can get the interest going, and if we can, get some people out to the shows, I'll definitely do it. I've been on the indie tour circuit before, and that can be a hard life, and you gotta have a lot of perseverance and strong-willed to kind of be out there for a long period of time without a lot of support from, say, like a label or something like that.
Yeah, it can be rough. How do you keep just on the side note, just kind of curious, with this being a studio project for so long, how do you kind of keep the energy or like kind of keep it alive or keep people knowing about it or keep the interest without being out there playing a lot? What's your sort of formula for that?
Yeah, it's right now. It's really working the social media. I'm at it on all fronts. I've got more social media accounts now that I really would care to have. but it's because when my publicist says, "Well, you got to have this, you got to have that," I'm like, okay, I'll have this, I'll have that. And can I get some help? Because what am I supposed to do with Tumblr? It's like those kind of things. But so that's really kind of what we're driving right now. We're just trying to get an online presence. Folks like yourself, getting people to listen to the record, talk about the record, let us get a chance to talk about the record and the band as much as we can, and just start getting some people interested in it. We're putting out a lot of content. I've got 2 music videos scheduled to come out over the next few months in support of the album. There's and I'm always adding more digital content and creating more content we're kind of putting out there when we can. So that's how we're hoping to kind of keep people interested and keep it moving forward.
Gotcha. This is the point where I'm going to let you plug whatever you'd like to plug, websites or whatever, and then we're going to do a bonus round. I got to thank my sponsors one more time. I'm going to come back and we're going to do a bonus round because I want to ask you, because I understand that you have an interest in the paranormal, and maybe you have written a book on this. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to come back. Hold that thought. In the meantime, go ahead and plug whatever you want to do, websites or however you want to tell people to find you or get a hold of you.
Yeah, well, the best way is go right to our main site, which is lostsoulsonbroadway.com. That's the portal that'll get you to iTunes, it'll get you to Amazon, it'll get you to YouTube, it'll get you to Facebook and Twitter, all the sites that you can connect to us on. You can send us a direct message right to the website. The album and vinyl is coming out on Friday, February 19th. It's in pre-order now on iTunes, and we'll actually have it for sale directly from the website on the release date.
Mark Sarro from Lost Souls on Broadway, and in case you missed it, that website is lostsoulsonbroadway.com, and you can go to SoundCloud and search Lost Souls on Broadway, and you can listen to some of the tracks there as well. Mark, stick around for a second because we're going to do a bonus round. Those of you out there that are on my list and subscribe, you get to hear the bonus stuff, and this I don't think you want to miss this. This is going to be very interesting. Mark's going to talk about a book he's either written or working on about the paranormal. So we're going to come right back. Mark, hang on for a second, buddy, okay?
Will do.
All right. Guys, you've been listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. You can catch up with all these great interviews, plus our music podcast at LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. That's like Houdini, but Loudini with an L. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. One more time, shout out to our brand new sponsor, McNeely Beer, and you can go to McNeelyBeer.com to get the address and phone number and all that good stuff. And thank you to our longtime sponsor, Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine, PPLMag.com. Once again, guys, that website is LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com, and you can find me on Facebook, Lou Lombardi, and on Twitter at LL Strangelove. Guys, thanks so much for listening. And those of you with a subscription are going to get your awesome bonus question. Guys, we'll talk to you soon and see you on the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.